Hey there, welcome to the channel. Today we will be talking about Kpop Demon Hunters once again, with this one shot being about the best character within the film, Bobby. Now, Bobby drew my attention quite a lot during the film, as he has a very interesting subplot as she struggles to feel connected with the girls as they struggle with their own difficulties during the film, making him feel neglected despite all the effort he puts in. He tries to give them flowers, he tries to support them, but they seem to constantly disappear when he tries to do these things. While the viewers know that they are trying to go and do demon hunting things, he thinks they just keep abandoning him, and this is where the subplot comes in, where the Saja Boy videos constantly appear at those moments and try and pull him away from the rest of the girls. And he never technically does this, because at the end of the film, when he does give up on the girls, that's because Guima is mind controlling everyone. So, in my opinion, Bobby was uncorruptible and he was the best character within the film. Now, this one shot will be about how he and the girls first created their relationship as Huntrix and him, the manager, or in this case, more like a friend. So, let's get into it. Alright, so getting into it, first of all, the first paragraph is a preposition towards where this one shot takes place within the universe's timeline. So, it explains that the girls have only just recently debuted, and that they have this manager named Steve. Now, this name should not ring any bells, because this is an entirely original character that I'm using for the one purpose of this one specific one shot. And who he is this very famous manager within the industry that Celine called over because he is said to be the best of the best, and that he should be able to bring the girls into more fame, because the entire point of Hunters is to grow as much as possible so as many people can be connected by their music. But he does have a lot of rumors surrounding him, and he has a lot of these suspicious activities going on. But sometimes the hunters have to make sacrifices for their cause, as Celine says to them, so they try and ignore all these weird, suspicious activities. Despite this, he's not the best person, so what I have is the girls, Mira, Zoe, and Ruby. They sort of have this back and forth with one another about how weird Steve is as an individual, how he has these weird meetings with business partners, and how he's very sketchy. Now, of course, this one shot is meant to be bringing the spotlight onto Bobby, so I have to bring him in. So, I have Bobby be Steve's assistant. He's an assistant that Steve brought on for this one specific job. And what Bobby does is he just tells the girls that, oh, Steve wants to meet with you guys in a bit, and he leaves. Now, Bobby in the movie is shown to be a very confident yet not confident at the same time. He's shown to have a lot of internal doubts within him, as shown when Guima starts talking about his inner doubts within the film. So I wanted to portray this as a bigger aspect of his personality within this one shot, because he hasn't grown as much right now. So I show a lot of how uncertain he is with his movements, how he acts, and I also wanted to bring in like some of the backstory from Bobby's perspective as well. So he talks about how Steve was a very cruel boss that kept assigning things to Bobby, and that it was stressing Bobby out, but he couldn't do anything since he's kind of just the assistant and he needs this job in order to progress in life. Now, from here on out, I focus on Bobby's perspective, because obviously he is the spotlight character of this one shot, and eventually I will write one shots that address other characters as well. So what happens is, finally Bobby arrives at Steve's office to tell him that he's told the girls. So as he approaches the door, he hears Steve talking about this very suspicious thing. He has this very ominous aura around him, and since Bobby is a rational individual, he decides not to barge in right away and continue to listen on into the conversation. And it's revealed that Steve is working for another company that has been laundering money, and they're using Huntrix as a way to launder money and do some very sketchy business stuff. And this pisses Bobby off. Since he's like this kind, empathetic character, he feels that the girls are facing an injustice and he wants to do something. And so he gets really riled up, his fists clench and everything, but all that anger dies down as he is faced once again with his lack of confidence, and he thinks about how he can't really do anything. And through this incompetence, he sort of has this dying down moment, but just as that, he thinks about the girls and he has this remotivation. So it's sort of this roller coaster ride of anger going up, anger going down, and rising back right up again, sort of an emotional roller coaster. And after he thinks about how the girls what they mean to him as an individual, he's hung out with them enough as an assistant in the background. He's seen how playful they are, and he doesn't want them to suffer from his own incompetence of being unable to stand up to his boss. So he jumps out and he tells Steve, "What are you doing?" And Steve sees him, and Steve acts like nothing happened. But Bobby says that he has heard everything Steve has said and knows that Steve is laundering money. But Steve is very confident. He knows that Bobby needs this job and that Steve is a much more reputable individual within the industry, and that Bobby won't be able to do anything because Steve can just buy off media. He can just disregard the claims and no one would really care. And he keeps bringing this up, and Bobby starts to feel smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and Steve gets confident. He rubs it into Bobby's face, and just as everything seems hopeless, we hear the line, "We'll take our chances," and behind Bobby is Huntrix. And this is meant to be a triumphant moment. Steve is frozen, and they have this sort of triumphant moment. They have this sort of triumphant moment, and all is good. Now, I'm rather proud of this one, so if you want to read it with the full experience, I'm pretty poor at conveying the emotional aspects of this one specific one. You can check it out through the link in the description, and you can also suggest more ways that I could write, improve YouTube in general, and suggest other short stories that you would want me to write in the future. And with that being said, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you like this type of content. I will be sure to improve in the future. Other than that, see you next time.